Alright, today's project is reorganizing my displayed LEGO collection. If you guys have seen the room tour video that I did at the start of 2025, you'd get a feel for what my displayed LEGO collection looks like, but as time's even gone on from when I made that video, things have just gotten a lot more cluttered to the point of where I just don't have room to display everything that I want to display, and I think it's the perfect time to actually reorganize my displayed LEGO collection and change up what I have, especially because it is the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith after all. LEGO might not really be celebrating it, but I know a lot of us in the LEGO community are still, and I have a bunch of really cool Revenge of the Sith sets that I want to review on the channel for you guys this year, and I want to make sure I display them. So today we're going to be going through the shelves and I'm going to be deciding what is going to stay and what is actually going to be taken out and put away into storage, just to make a lot of room for the awesome sets to come. And just to give you guys a bit of an example of what I'm talking about here, I'm not a huge fan of how this shelf up here looks, where you have the original mini scale Star Destroyer next to the Phantom II, along with the Rebel Combat Frigate. Down, if we move near the bottom of this shelf, we have, C-3PO and R2-D2 with the Ghost, which, looks fine enough, but it doesn't really, not really, consistent in terms of a theme, which I always like to do. And then on the bottom of this shelf here, we have the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle, and then we have those Rebel Scout Speeder and Imperial Dropship Battle Packs, along with the Grogu Escape with the Bark Speeder and Keller and Beck down below there. Really just storage at this point for sets that really aren't doing anything for display value. It's just kind of a storage shelf at this point, and that I really want to change. Honestly, this last shelf here is probably the worst offender. You see I have the Jedi Starfighter with Hyperdrive Booster Ring just still awkwardly sitting there from when I moved it. Same with the midi-scale Starship Collection Home 1 Star Cruiser. I reviewed it, placed it up there in front of Captain Rex and Commander Cody, and then never found a home for it. This shelf here I'm actually a pretty big fan of, kind of a Clone Wars era shelf. I really like the sets that are all on there. Same with my original Technic Star Wars collection there, that's all displayed. Those all look really nice there. A little cluttered, but you know what? I like having them all together on one shelf. My little Jedi Starfighter collection there, I might change that up a little bit. A bunch of just Starship Collection sets, that's going to have to change. And then this shelf down here too, with the one Jabba Sail Barge from 2013 and then the V-19 Torrent, that's got to find a better home to actually be proud on display because we got that new one coming out in 2025. And this shelf right here, I was super proud of. 2024 was the year I started my LEGO Star Wars YouTube channel, and it was the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace. So I wanted to have a shelf that really highlighted a lot of the amazing Episode 1 sets that we've gotten over the years, and from last year as well. But now, it's just too much dedicated to one movie for the space that I have right now. I have 4 of these IKEA Billy bookcases for my LEGO Star Wars display, the main portion of my display at least, and it's basically been one of these has been dedicated to Episode 1. At this point, it's too much. I have to cut back on the Episode 1 sets I display and make room for Episode 2 sets, more Episode 3 sets like I've said, and just a lot of other stuff to come as well. So this one is going to need some tweaking because I really like overall how it looks in the sets that I have on display. Like this more vintage Episode 1 shelf is so cool, and then kind of the Trade Federation Battle of Naboo sets down here. I think that's all looked really cool, but I got to make some adjustments here and really decide what I'm going to do. And that's going to be the hardest part today, is actually deciding what I want to do because I'm not sure. So it's going to be a bit of a trial and error and process. And I think the first step today is actually kind of going through each display shelf one by one and deciding what sets I don't want to display anymore. And just to show you guys even more of what I'm talking about here in the Episode 1 shelf, I have the Vulture Droid, that original Clone Scout Walker, Ahsoka's Jedi Interceptor all cluttered on the second to last shelf on the bottom. And then the bottom shelf is really more of storage again. I have the Tri-Fighter there, all of the 25th anniversary LEGO Star Wars minifigs as well in the bottom there with the original Jabba Sail Barge. It's just cluttered, doesn't look the best, and I just gotta make some more room here, but like I was saying, I love how this shelf looks, especially these two here. I think those two shelves are just such a cool display idea and concept, and maybe is a bit full, but at the same time it doesn't look too cluttered or anything. Like, it's thoughtfully displayed, I think, and well, just thought out, I guess. And this middle display shelf is probably the one that's going to change the least. Like on the top there, I have kind of a rare shelf, or what are kind of some of my rarer items in my collection so far. The main General Grievous and Jango Fett Slave 1 display there. That's not going to change. Plo Koon's Jedi Starfighter and the Malevolence, I might move that to somewhere else, actually, depending if I want to kind of make more of a Clone Wars shelf. I have Sebulba and Anakin's Pod Racers, a really underrated Episode 1 set in my opinion. It doesn't get talked about enough. That's probably going to move to more of the Episode 1 display. And then, consistently, the very bottom shelf here has been turned into a little bit of storage with Grogu and his pram down there. We have Ahsoka's T6 Jedi Shuttle, and then as well the duel on Peridea with some additional minifigs, like I put Baylan Skoll down there and Shin Hati, just to kind of add some more, vibe and more of the correct characters to that set. But overall, this one's not going to change that much. And just to show you guys a little bit of what I'm talking about when I say I need to make room, like I have the 9494 Anakin's Jedi Interceptor sealed, which I'm going to be reviewing on the channel. Probably my next review actually is going to be this one, and I think it's one of the best Episode 3 sets ever, and I want to be able to display it, and I just don't have room. And if you want to see this review when it comes out and you aren't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, make sure you subscribe. I greatly appreciate the support, and it'll help let you guys know when I make this review and release it on the channel. But even like the AT-AT driver helmet, I want to see how it looks beside the UCS AT-AT, so we're going to sort that out today. And then the original Anakin's Jedi Interceptor from the Clone Wars 2008. I got no room to display it, so this is kind of why now I'm like, all right, something's got to change. I got to make some room, and even though I love all of these sets that I have on display, I just don't have the room to display it all. But I'm going to show you guys kind of the process as well and kind of what I have set up for storing these built sets. And I think it should protect them fairly well. But if you guys have a better idea than what I'm going to be doing, let me know in the comments down below too, because I'm always looking for new ideas or new ways to store and protect my Lego sets. All right, so this isn't the most refined system, but it's basically just a storage bin that's taller and not as wide, that I thought would work really well for storing some of my built sets that I'm no longer going to be displaying or that I've reviewed and just don't want to display. So I'll put some B-roll up here for you guys, but you can see I have like Shin Hati's Starfighter, which I actually never ended up reviewing on the channel, but I've built it and kind of just have it in here with a little bit of bubble wrap to protect it, like the newer TIE Bomber I have in here too. So I think I'm going to just take the sets that I'm no longer displaying and stack them as carefully as I can in here and maybe get another one, and then throw it up in storage where they'll be dust free, they'll be protected, they won't be moving around a lot. Just me moving it from this room here up into my attic for storage is all the movement they're going to have, and not really bouncing up against each other and scratching like the pieces that much. So I think this should work, but if you guys do have a different solution, let me know down in the comments below. Oh, the minifigs. I have a separate storage bin where I'm putting them in Ziploc bags and then labeling them from what sets they're from and any kind of smaller parts that might get lost so that everything stays together. I'd like to get something for my wall eventually where I display minifigs that aren't in the actual display cases maybe. Because I like displaying the minifigs next to the sets. I think that looks cool personally, but maybe just one of those wall-hung minifig display cases just for the extra ones where the sets aren't being displayed might be a good way to show off some more minifigs that I have that are cooler, maybe a little bit rarer, but I don't know. That's something I'll maybe sort out in the near future. So here's the result after cleaning out the first display cabinet. And I haven't moved the sets around to how I kind of want them to be just yet, but what I've taken out so far, like the Sith Infiltrator, even all the 25th anniversary minifigs, I mean, I don't really care that much to display them. The actual pod racing diorama, which I really do like. It was very overpriced in my opinion, but I still do like the set and its concept, but I don't need two sets that are Sebulba's and Anakin's pod racers, and I'm going to display the other one if I'm going to display one of these. Even like the duel between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. You have even the Flash Speeder, and case in point for the minifigs, and kind of, I need to have a different solution for displaying minifigs that don't go with sets I'm displaying, because like Captain Tarpals, for example, or even this version from the Sith Infiltrator, the original kind of Episode 1 Tatooine style of Padme, I'd love to display these minifigs, but I'm putting the sets away, so I kind of want to keep everything together, at least for now. I don't know. That's another predicament I found myself in, so maybe one of those well-mounted displays is something I actually go and acquire sooner than later, because I'd like to have all of these still on display to be able to look and be like, hey, I do have all of these in my collection, even though the sets are going to be put away. But this is kind of the result of the first display shelf, display case purge. All right, so the update as to what I've done for the shelves, I've moved the vintage episode 1 display up to the very top shelf of this display case. And then I have the Sebulba and Anakin's Pod Racer. I've moved from the kind of more middle shelf onto this one. And one thing I did too that you guys will see is I've actually placed the minifigs from the Sith Infiltrator that released right around the same time with this set. So you get like Padme, Captain Panaka, Qui-Gon Jinn. With these ones, you get Darth Maul over there. Then I did the same thing with the Trade Federation shelf kind of Battle Naboo when I put Captain Tarpals there and left that one as is otherwise. But I think that for an episode 1 display, those 3 shelves look fantastic. The one other thing that I did do is I changed the rare shelf here. I put my UCS N1 Starfighter up on the top for now and removed the sealed Death Star and Trade Federation Troop Carrier promo sets off and put them in storage. I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm just going to kind of leave it like that for now. But that's the other update that I've done so far to try and move things around just a little bit. I'm not sure how I feel about that N1 sitting up there on the very top shelf, because the angle that you kind of see it from head height is about here, and I'm 6 feet, so that gives you guys a bit of an indication of not the best angle for actually admiring it on display, but it is a rare set that would fit kind of the theme of this top shelf. So we'll see if I keep it like that or not. Right, now, let's exchange the Viper probe droid. For the AT-AT driver helmet. I'm not sure if I actually like that better than the Viper probe droid. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? I'm not totally sold on how that looks, if I'm being honest. I kind of thought it'd look maybe a little cooler. I don't know. I think the Viper probe droid just has a bit more going on and helps fill in the space maybe a little bit more. I'm gonna have to sit on this for a little bit and actually see what I think of it. Live with it for a little bit, and maybe that'll be something I end up swapping back. So I've done a little bit more tweaking to this display cabinet, and I think I've kind of come up with a final version of it, at least for now. I actually added in one more of these shelves to this one from where I had a spare one from when I put in the UCS AT-AT in the display cabinet. I just had a spare shelf laying around. So I was able to kind of balance everything, I think, pretty nicely and shift things up to incorporate one more shelf for episode 1 with the pod racers. You have the vintage shelf on the top, the more kind of Battle of Naboo Trade Federation shelf here, of course, with all of the additional minifigs I put in onto those 2 shelves, like Captain Tarpals, Darth Maul, Padme, Captain Panaka, Qui-Gon on that one. And then I made room for an episode 3 shelf here, where you actually have the Starship Collection Invisible Hand, the Vulture droid, and Tri-Fighter droid, also with all of the different droids, the Buzz droids. You have the the 2 minifigs as well, like the Nemoidian Warrior. That I couldn't remember that name for the life of me. The Nemoidian Warrior and the episode 3 earlier version of Chancellor Palpatine there beside the Invisible Hand, which I think looks really cool together. So I love how that shelf also looks in terms of just being a nice display piece for episode 3. And then what you guys can see that I've done with this shelf here is I actually lowered it a little bit and put both the V-19 Torrent and the Jedi Starfighter with Hyperdrive Booster Ring side by side, both just facing forward. And this makes the most sense because both of these builds are rather tall, and I didn't want to make other shelves be unnecessarily high just for one of the sets. So I thought, why not just make one shelf dedicated for these 2 taller sets? And I think they look pretty cool side by side also. So that's just another update to the display shelf in terms of this first one. It's mainly what I've been working on so far. And here is that last display shelf, which is the one that I'm really having to work on and adjust now. You guys will see here I've put in the original Clone Wars Anakin's Jedi Starfighter on my Starfighter display shelf, which I'm not sure if it's going to stay there exactly, but I think that looks really good there. I've put Jedi Bob's Starfighter has gone in the built little container, that I have where I'm going to put everything in storage, even like the Scout Speeder dropship sets. I put in little baggies there just to kind of keep them all organized in case pieces break off. The other thing I got to decide is I think I'm going to put away the 2013 sail barge because I don't need all 3 sail barges on display, even though that was such a fun time for the channel, because I have the Ultimate Collector Series Jabba sail barge up there on display. And then down in this display shelf on the bottom, I have the original. So I definitely don't need all 3. But I definitely think the Tantive is going to get placed in there. And honestly, I think the Falcon too. Let's just get that in there. That's kind of what we're looking at in terms of how the sets are going to be stored that are already built. As far as an update for this shelf, I did move the Viper probe droid back to being beside the UCS AT-AT. I just think it looks better, if I'm being honest. The actual kind of display stand for it, I love how it's meant to look snowy. It's meant to look like Hoth, and it's sitting, the probe droid's kind of sitting or floating on top of Hoth. And I just think that lends itself to looking better and to be more of almost a cohesive display, at least in my opinion. So that's back up there, and I think that's going to stay. I did adjust this shelf here. I put Grogu with the hover pram down beside C-3PO and R2-D2. The Droideka is there for now because I just don't know where I want to put it, but the plan would be once we get the new buildable B1 battle droid to place those together. But for right now, that's kind of a placeholder for when the buildable Chopper comes out. This is where I will put Chopper, and then down below here, you guys can't really see, but the Ghost is down here now, along with the Bad Batch attack shuttle, just kind of to take up some space for the moment. Otherwise, I have a little bit of empty shelves too that I'm just kind of waiting to place sets on. So I better go and kind of get ready to start making reviews, I guess, now, because I haven't made one in a little while. And that is going to conclude the vlog for today. I just wanted to take you guys through my thought process with me as I kind of reorganized my displayed LEGO Star Wars collection a little bit, made room for some upcoming sets, especially lots of Revenge of the Sith sets. And I also apologize for not really making videos on the channel in I think it's been like a little over 2 weeks since I've uploaded, so I apologize, you guys. Life has just gotten a little crazy and I fell behind in making videos for you all, but we're back to more of a regular schedule now, I'm happy to say, and I hope you guys just enjoyed me taking you through kind of changing up the display a little bit, apart from doing another full collection tour video. I only want to do those maybe once every 6 months, once a year, maybe more likely, just to kind of keep it fresh and something to look forward to, maybe at the start of every year, like I did with the 2024, I guess, end of video that I made. So could be a cool concept to do every year on the channel, but I just thought a little vlog like this, taking you guys through my thought process, would be fun. Until the next vlog, you guys, take care, and I'll see you on the next vlog on Obi-Wan Studios.